Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well. This Thursday, November 9, 2023, we meet today to talk about UOS, Ultra's crypto, and as usual, we are going to dissect this video into two parts. Fundamental part, we will come back to Ultra, what it is, the use, their purpose, UOS and Ultra, and then we will project ourselves on the prices to see purchase prices, sale prices, averages, long-term, and it starts right away. As a reminder, you always have the possibility of having free access to the educational course, which is a 60-hour training course worth €400, which allows you to learn blockchain, crypto, investment, etc. Technical analysis, trading, everything to become profitable. Through 130 videos, 400 pages of guides, quizzes to find out where you are in your progress, and all for free. To have access to this lifelong training, simply use the platform of one of our partners. Everything is explained in the comments and descriptions. What is Project Ultra? Overall, if I had to simplify it to the extreme, it would be the construction of a Steam in a decentralized way and much more permissive for video game publishers. That's really the principle of Ultra. Overall, it is a protocol which aims, through blockchain technology, to provide developers and video game studios with a game distribution platform. It's exactly that. They define themselves as the future of gaming, in which they integrate alongside all the functionalities specific to the blockchain with the integration of NFTs, among others. But not only that, with the possibility of being able to create an interface between the player, the publishers, of video games in a truly transparent, efficient, and above all inexpensive way in which we will have a real reduction in distribution, which will be colossal. We are not far from dividing by two. Steam is 30% of the retributions, and again, sometimes it can be higher. Here we are around 15%. But that's not all, because they really want to provide all the tools necessary to interface the player and video game publishers through the creation of a community, the animation of a community, the management of microtransactions within their video games, with in particular the possibility of being able to manage NFTs, therefore the Web3 part integrated into the games. And it is really a very good function. That is to say that this is something that we need, in any case that the industry needs. Clearly, we need an evolution in this area. The question that we will have to ask ourselves, at the end, is Ultra the solution to precisely all these problems, or are video game publishers going to doing otherwise? Besides, the UOS is used directly in all the effective transactions of the protocol, and in which we have an EOS which has a max supply of 1 billion, in any case a total supply of 1 billion, and in which we are at 350 million that have already been minted, so roughly 35 minus 36% circulation. We are on a diluted market cap of 188 million, which is not huge compared to the protocol itself. And you have to understand that UOS launched, so it's already been a while number of months that they have launched. And the principle of UOS, it will always be the same principle of a marketplace, because overall, of course, they provide developers and video game publishers with tools, but it's not just that. They must also be able to offer a database of players, to be able to promote distribution, and that's really important. That's the principle of the marketplace. That is, the marketplace must have sellers to attract buyers, and must have buyers to attract sellers. It's the chicken and egg principle, and that's what always makes the creation of a marketplace of this style very complicated, in the sense that from the moment all the players are on a single marketplace, all publishers will want to be on that marketplace. And the same, if there are all the games that are available on this marketplace, players will go to this marketplace. And there is the complexity that it will have at the level of Ultra. This is what they will have the capacity to be able to create a sufficient pool of players, or in any case to convince big studios to releasing games to attract players. A slip of simplification. But that's really the principle there, and it's going to be that which will determine whether the platform itself, Ultra, will persist and will really manage to make its mark whole. Or are they going to be in a niche style, for example? Why not a niche around specialized games in Web3, in gaming Web3? Is there really a niche on it, or are we going to go through a real form of gradually forgetting Ultra so that it is instantiated directly within the big publishers? We still have some news which is moving in this direction and which came out today. Thanks to Goku in it. Besides, I was looking for news on this to see a little bit where we were, because it's a subject that I had already spoken to you about several times. In this case, Yes, we have big studios like Ubisoft who are preparing the integration of the blockchain, and will they go through Ultra? No, they are not going to go through Ultra at all. They will go through other players such as Immutable, for example, which offers a lot of integration functionalities within video games in which we will have minimal costs of integration. And Ubisoft will be able to offer integrated blockchain games with all the functionalities but directly on their own means of distribution. And on that, we are really going to have these problems. It is that the big games, the big AAA, which are necessary, in fact, to attract the average classic player on Ultra, will arrive at some point on Ultra. And this is really the big problem in the long term. Will the valuation of the US short term over the next bull run be impacted by this? I want to tell you quite a bit. That is to say that we will have, as usual, a bull run at that time, a valuation of the OS, which will be done. Will we arrive to persist on new 88ths at the end of the bull run? That's the question. On the other hand, we will have to ask ourselves the question of the persistence and viability of Ultra in the long term, in the next 2, 3, 4 years, yes or no. We will be able to create a community, in fact, create a sufficient pool of games to be able to persist. It will be really very important. We have finished the fundamental part. We are going to attack the technical part of Ultra, in which we still have quite a few things to see. Where Ultra by default, we really had a curve which was very clean behind, with a phase of accumulation, first phase of acceleration, March 2021. Therefore, first part of the bull run, box on slump, and second phase of very, very strong acceleration, and in particular an acceleration at the beginning of November 2021, which was truly monumental. So, as a reminder, it was driven by the rename of Facebook as a meta, in which we really had a very strong arc which was noted around the metaverse, and therefore a new narrative which was very strong around gaming and the metaverse. Hence the monumental acceleration of the EOS. And then we had a big profit in 3 times. A, B, C, and currently we find ourselves in an accumulation of long-term wick-off, in which we are in a spot zone. And we actually return to the high-low of the spot zone, after taking liquidity here. From this point, which was really important, in which we were waiting for this liquidity gain before being able to start the increase again, we have another liquidity zone below at 0.1, which in fact corresponds to this reaccumulation zone at the level of the upward acceleration that we keep in mind. For what? Because we haven't yet made a strong enough break, that is to say we made a little break-off structure, which is interesting, in which we went to redeem this bit there, but for me it will need to consolidate above 0.22 here. Consolidation above 0.22 would precisely allow us to consolidate above a reaccumulation zone and then start to rise again. That is to say that there we could accelerate, make a small rebound, make a little pull, back to then leave again. And there we have a lot of imbalances to fill, so that means that we would at least go and retest the 0.31, or even potentially here go and break the 0.41, and there this is the really interesting signal that we are waiting for to tell ourselves that we are indeed starting to rise again at the level of UOS. Once again, when we have a narrative around NFTs or around gaming, UOS will have value and will increase in value. Whether the Ultra project itself is profitable or not, it will not matter from the moment we are in a form of bull run with a narrative that is more or less close to the themes addressed by Ultra. Once again, there is always the correlation between the two. So for the moment we are still in something which is rather positive, in which we still see here an RSI, which is in the process of going back up there. We went back above the 50 weekly, and in which we made a small break of structure. I am still waiting for a break of structure and a consolidation above the 0.22 to tell me that in fact we can have a very nice pullback here to go hunting a little higher. In terms of long-term targets, what can we aim for? We are already going to aim for several things. 1, with the arrival of a pull run, but in which Ultra cannot break through, that is one of the possibilities, in which I think that the target that we could seek would be in the around Oneminus 2 or even Oneminus 5, so actually go and look for this very important area here in which people are stuck with the end, in fact, of the pull run, in which we had here this phase where no one believed that it was the end bull run. So we have a lot of people who actually bought back this Lola and this high before having the Terra Luna breakout, and in which here, obviously, we are going to have people who are going to reduce their exposure and people who will take their profit, because we will already be in almost 800% profit, I think, something like that. Yeah, 500, 600%. So inevitably there will be a colossal profit taking which will be carried out. And if we ever have an Ultra that performs, we could say to ourselves that we are in a big wave 2, Elliotist could go for a big wave 3, with a goal of 1.618, and an Ultra which would be around $4. $4, that would still give us a market cap which is not that huge. So we would still have a propensity for upward acceleration which would be relatively strong from the moment and only from of the moment. where Ultra manages to create a real player base and draw from publishers in which we will have big titles which will be built. And it's the same principle. It's not just announcements saying potentially there's going to be a day that's going to be built. No, the game must be released. There must be marketing, and at that time we will have a valuation of EOS. Okay? You just have to be careful between news, rumors, and reality. And what we need is during the bull run, to have not only news, to have reality, and to have games released to attract players, and to have a democratization of Ultra, and therefore a democratization of Web3 through gaming and through Ultra, something which is a gateway to mass adoption. But there are still many things to deal with before we can get there. I hope you like this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. It always makes me very happy. And if you like this video, I'm sure you will enjoy the video I made yesterday on BNB, Binance's crypto. I think you all know, especially the news that happened yesterday. I invite you to watch it, and we'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the daily news.